All right, so welcome to our big team call. We do these once a month, so thank you for hopping on. I know that it is Thanksgiving week, and I don't know about you, but we are headed out of town on Wednesday, and so we have our boys are home from school this week, so everything feels a little bit off of routine. So I appreciate you hopping on tonight, and I appreciate your time. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Amber Bailey, and I am the leader of Teen Fit Revival. I have been coaching for 6 years in March, and I started as a discount coach, told Stephanie I had no interest in building a business, like literally said that to her, and things quickly changed. 6 to 8 weeks later, I had started with Chalene Extreme and Shakeology, and I just felt like somebody had put the oxygen mask over my face. And so from there, I went back to teaching that year and kind of dug my heels in and decided that I was going to do this coaching thing. So either I was going to get happy where I was at, or I had to make a change. And so that following summer, I got to retire from teaching, and I've been coaching pretty much full time ever since then. And it's been the biggest blessing for me. I feel like it has just flipped my whole world upside down, and it's changed our family, and it's changed a lot of things. And so that's just the quick version. I know that this call represents a lot of different teams, and so some of you may or may not have any idea who I am. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of a backstory there. And I also, what I want to talk about tonight is this phase one. And so I just want to kind of ask your permission to give you a little bit of tough love tonight. And anytime you give tough love, it always has to come first. People have to know that you love them, right? And so I know many of you don't know me, so and I don't know you, but I do love this business. I love what it does for people. I love your leaders. Many of them have shaped who I am as a coach. And I love your teams, and I love our team. And so with that, I've got lots of love. And so any tough love that I give always comes from that place. Our team has been elite 3 times in a row for the past 3 years, hopefully a 4th time coming up soon. And just last month, I was a Million Club member, so that's a new accomplishment. So with that, I just want to bring to the table some things that I really feel like helps me recenter when I feel like things have gotten off track. And so this idea of phase one is what we're going to be talking about tonight. So before we do that, we have a little bit of just recognition to do. So 2 awesome ladies here. Tara Davis is from Teen Fit Revival. She is one of my personally sponsored coaches, and she was a diamond coach, hit diamond a couple of weeks ago, and we're super proud of her and what she's been able to accomplish with her team. She's a growing leader, as well as Allison Oki, and she is on Tiffany Danzy's team, and I know that Tiffany is proud of her. We're all proud of you, Allison, and we're so super pumped to recognize you here on the big team call for being a diamond coach. That's a huge step and a huge accomplishment, and so congrats to these ladies. Up next, we have our announcement. So if you've been on Facebook today or anywhere in your Coach Online office, you probably know that there is a Black Friday sale. It started today. So it'll be today through the 29th. I will say that a lot of times what they put up for sale is like limited stock. So if you see something on there that you want, then it's a good idea to go ahead and get it when you see it, because there's a good chance it might not be there tomorrow. I know a lot of times I've gone and said, oh, I'm going to get that tomorrow, and then I go to get it and it's not there. So you do get your coach discount on top of the sale price, which is really awesome. So it's a great time to stock up on anything maybe that you wanted to try that's on sale, or giveaways or Christmas gifts or anything like that. I know for me, a lot of times I leverage this sale within our team and my current customers. I like to let them know what's going on so that they can take advantage, maybe add to their library or try something new in addition to what they're already doing. So challenge pack sales, Quarter Force, everybody knows about that. Hopefully by now, Country Heat, and both 21 Day Fix and 21 Day Fix Extreme. Refresh kits are $10 off, $12 if you're in Canada, until December 5th. So it's a great time, especially with Thanksgiving, to be doing a refresh, whether it's after Thanksgiving, or I know I have one planned for actually after Christmas. So it's a good time to grab those and to let your customers know about that as well. So we're going to get right into it. What is phase one? So I'll be honest with you, I heard this term not too long ago. And so the great thing about coaching is that you're never done learning, right? So Stephanie will tell you the same. She's probably been in this longer than anybody here, but I've been doing this for 6 years in March, and I literally learn something new all the time. And so this phase one, I kept hearing the term, and I kept hearing the term. So finally, like, I actually never asked. Somebody asked in a group, and I was like, okay, what is phase one? I had kind of an idea, because you can get an idea just by what it says there. But really what phase one is it separates the talkers from the doers. We can talk about changing lives. We can talk about growing our business. We can talk about those big dreams, those big goals, wanting something not just good for your life, but great for your life. We can talk about that all day long, but unless we take action, then it never happens, right? And so really what phase one is it separates the talking about it from the actual, like, taking action and doing it. It's putting your income building task first. And so I think last time I led this call, I think I talked about this income building checklist. So I don't want the call to be about that, but I did include it here so you can take a look. These are the things that we consider like your priority every single day. And no matter what team you're on, it probably looks similar. Maybe some of the language is different, but these income building activities are the things that should absolutely be done first. And I had no idea where that pink line came from on the screen. So who knows? At least it's pink, right? So your income building activities have to be done first. That's phase one. It's doing those things. 90% of your time should be spent on these tasks. It's bringing new customers. Well, there we go. There's another one. Bringing new customers and coaches onto your team consistently. It's doing, like, whatever your lingo is on your team. You may talk about power hours, your business activity tracker. That's a little bit of an older term. Power hours, or your power of threes, whatever the case may be. Those are all synonymous with doing the income building activities first. So whatever that looks like for you and however you track it, that is staying in phase one. It's leading by example, and it's doing putting your head down and doing that work, because that is the secret sauce for this business. There's no, like, you see all these crazy points on the board sometimes from people, and they're helping all these people, and you're like, how in the world do they do that? This is how they do that. They just do more of it. And so I want to just reiterate, like, that is phase one. And staying in phase one is what builds a successful, long-term, stable business. So hopefully that kind of helps define what it is. What it's not is playing the manager of your business. I know anytime that I personally have been frustrated with where things are at, because it happens to all of us, I can take a look at where I'm spending my time, and it always goes back to I'm playing manager and I'm not staying in phase one. I'm managing my challenge group. I'm trying to manage the team, make sure everybody's taken care of. But what I'm not doing when I'm frustrated is I'm not doing those activities that are critical to my business. And so what phase one is not is hanging out all day in your challenge groups. And I know that sounds like maybe a little taboo. Our job is to help our challengers get results. And I think a big piece of that puzzle is helping them take ownership, right? To take ownership of their choices. That's what accountability is. And so what you can do as a coach is teach your challengers how to take ownership. You don't need to be in there all day long, right? So be in there, help them, but get in, get out, send your one-on-one messages, make sure you're taking care of your group, but that doesn't mean that you have to spend all day in there. Phase one is not making the perfect cover photo. You do not need to be a graphic artist. It's not setting up a challenge group before you have anyone to put in it. There is no reason to set up a group until you have people to put in that group. So don't waste your time setting things up until you have sent out the invites and you've had the conversations and you've matched somebody's goals with a program and you have set them up and put the right tools in their hand to be successful in your group. Phase one is not building a like page before it's time. There is a time and a place for that. But building a like page, there's a lot of factors and a lot of things that go into that you have to consider before you make that leap. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as we go. Phase one is not based on a lack of action. Phase one is all about action, because when you're taking action, you don't even have time for fear. So hopefully that helps you kind of define phase one, what it is, what it isn't. And so from here on out, what I want to do is kind of dissect what it looks like for new coaches, what it looks like for diamond coaches, and what it looks like for star diamond coaches. So even if you're a new coach right now, it's all good. But I want you to be able to see what this big picture looks like so that you know where you're going, right? You know, like, I'm doing these things right here, and this is where it's taking me. So if you're anything like me, like, I kind of have to see that big picture and know where I'm going. And that really increases my confidence in why I'm doing what I'm doing right now in the phase and in the season of my business that I'm in. And so for new coaches, the very first thing, and one of the only things, it's so great as a new coach because you just get to concentrate on mastering those income building activities. Be a master of that. If you have a weak spot, then work on it. This is your time to grow into those places where you are feeling not so confident. Make Success Club 10 your goal. If you don't hit it, reach for the moon, you land among the stars, and that's not too shabby, right? But I always suggest making your goal a little bit higher than the bare minimum. And we always say that the minimum, that benchmark every month, is Success Club 5. So make it your goal to hit 10. And then, like I said, if that doesn't happen and you hit 5, it's all good. So how do you hit 10? You do those income building activities over and over and over consistently. The other thing for new coaches is just learning how to master sharing your story. Your success will largely be determined by your ability to know how to share your story. Whether you do that verbally, whether you do that on social media, however you choose to do that, you have to be a master of being able to share your story, piece by piece, chapter by chapter, day by day. You don't have to share the whole big thing every day, but learning how to breadcrumb that along the way and show people your journey is a huge part of what we do. And so before you can ever go to a like page, you have to master that on your personal page first, because you'll never be successful on a like page until you have mastered that on your personal page. And so that's a big reason why that like page can be a big distraction in the beginning. And I'm not saying this is one size fits all. Definitely talk to your coach and how they like to do things. because it's not black and white all the time. And there are different cases for different things. So I always believe that for every coach, you kind of have to differentiate how you address each coach. But for the majority, generally speaking, it is best to focus on your personal page, master sharing your story before you move on to something else. You're learning how to mentor others on their fitness journey, and you're learning how to master that. Learning how to run challenge groups, to do those effectively, to walk with people, to make sure that you're doing your job as a coach and helping them get results. And then you're starting each month with a specific plan. It might look different for you. This is just an example, but on our team, it's free groups, challenge groups, business opportunity. Those are 3 things that we invite to every month. And so knowing what your dates are for each of those things, whether it's this or it looks a little bit differently, is critical. And so these are the things as a new coach that staying in phase 1, this is what you have to become a master of before you can move on to the next step. Because this is a business that is built on layers. If you want a strong foundation, you have to master one thing before you can move to the next thing and master that. And so the next thing really is Diamond Coach. So phase 1 for Diamond Coaches, it looks a lot the same, only with a few differences. You're building on what you already mastered as a new coach. Your income building activities are still the same. You still have a goal of Success Club 10 every single month. Build on what you know about sharing your story, because by now, and guys, like as a new coach and even as a diamond coach and even as a whatever diamond coach, like it all takes practice and it all takes failing forward. So you have to be willing to practice in order to get better, right? It's just like being on like a baseball team or a football team or whatever kind of team. You have to practice in order to improve your skills, right? You have to be willing to do it wrong in order to get it right. And so don't think that you got to nail it from the gate. It's all about being able to do it over and over and over, learn, do, tweak. And so phase 1 for Diamond Coaches, back to that, you're building on your ability to share your story. You've been learning about that. You've been practicing that. You've been doing that. You've been making adjustments where need be. This is the point where you might consider a like page, but that's always a conversation between you and your upline coach. So that when you do make that decision, you have all the facts about that and you know what that entails and you know what kind of commitment that is. So have that conversation before you spend your time there. So I'm trying to help you honor your time and respect your time. If there's one thing that I can speak to in this business, it is being laser focused on the right things at the right time. And so even if you do, as a diamond coach, decide to start building a like page, you cannot abandon your personal page. You cannot take away what was working for you and then just do something else over here. It will not work, because building a like page takes all of these skills that you've been learning about building relationships and sharing your story and starting conversations with new people that you don't know. All of those skills that you've been learning on your personal page, in your warm market, with your income building activities, you must be a master of that before you can rock a like page, to be perfectly honest with you. So all of these things, you have to be a master of phase 1 before you can move on to these other things and be successful at them. Build on what you know about so as a newer coach, you're learning how to run challenge groups and help people on their fitness journey. As a diamond coach, you're starting to learn how to mentor others in this business. And that is a big difference there. And there's a lot to learn there. because sometimes it's not easy, and you do have to address each person that joins your team a little bit differently, and whatever their learning style is, whatever their needs are, you have to be willing to really dig in there and mentor them according to their goals. And so learning how to do that is really exciting. Honestly, like, I love that part of this business, because that means your impact is growing, right? You get to teach somebody how to do what you're doing, how to help more people. And so when you're able to teach this business to other people, your impact spreads like wildfire. And it's a really amazing thing that we do. And then start each month with a plan and make sure it's specific, make sure you know your dates. So really, as a diamond, you're learning how to be a mentor. That's the biggest difference between new coach phase 1 and diamond coach phase 1. Phase 1 for star diamonds and above. And I know, like, if you're a new coach sitting on this call, you may be like, that just seems like so far away. But can I just tell you, the first time that I ever went to Summit, I was a new coach, I was an emerald coach, I had no clue what I was doing, and I went into this room, and the first meeting that we sat down at, it was Tony Horton, and he lifted up his shirt, and I was like, oh my gosh, what have I got myself into? Because he was like showing everybody his abs, right? And then they started recognizing all of these coaches for being a certain, like, diamond or star diamond or whatever, and I didn't really even know what that meant. And I remember thinking this to myself, I thought, there's no way I could ever be a diamond coach. I thought that to myself. But that's not what happened. So there's good news there. I was able to move past that. And so I share that story because you can move past that too. And even if diamond or star diamond seems far away, it's not as far away as you think it is. So what does phase 1 look like for star diamonds and above? These lines are killing me. I have no idea. Like, my computer is not touchscreen, so I really don't know what's going on. So the income building activities stay the same. Those things don't change. The SE10 goal doesn't change. None of that changes. Sharing your story doesn't change. But as you master sharing your story and your impact begins to grow, then you can spend some more time on your like page because you've mastered those things. You know how to share your story and do it in a genuine way that inspires people and that is genuine and that people are attracted to, and they want to know what you've got because they want to be a part of that. That's how you rock a like page. So mastering being a mentor is part of being a star diamond. Continue to learn new ways to differentiate your approach. I've mentioned that a few times tonight. With each individual who joins your challenge group, joins your team, your goal is to grow leaders as a star diamond coach. And there's no way that you can grow leaders until you can become a leader yourself and to master the very basic income building activities that this business is centered around, right? If you want to help a whole lot of people, it has to go through these channels. So when you get to I really think that star diamonds and above, like, we probably are the most prone to going into management mode because you just got to take care of everybody else and answer everybody's questions. But the better job you can do of teaching people how to find answers at this point, the better. So I heard a quote. This isn't my quote. I think I heard it at leadership somewhere. But they were talking about management mode and saying it's a counterfeit to real leadership. So you didn't sign on to be a coach, to be a CEO of your own business, to be a manager. You signed on to create leaders, to help people see what's possible for themselves, to create belief in them and let them, like, see what's possible for them before they're ever even able to believe themselves. That's what a leader does. It's not about managing a team. It's about identifying each person's gifts and helping them learn how to magnify that in a way that makes their business unique. And then again, start each month with a specific plan. At this point, as a Star Diamond, things may be starting to get a little more sophisticated. You may be starting to take the systems that you have learned and have ingrained in your day-to-day activities, and you may be starting to put your own twist on these things, but not until this time. So here's some thoughts for you guys. There's a reason why it's not phase 2 when you're a diamond, phase 3 when you're a Star Diamond. It's all phase 1 because we are all in the same playing field. Your phase 1 activities are the same as my phase 1 activities. I just have more of them. Some people may master certain areas of this business quicker than others, so don't compare yourself. It's okay. It's taken me a long time to master certain aspects of this business, and I've had to be a student of those places that I was not good at when I started this. I was not good at talking to people, literally. I was not good at knowing how to start a conversation with somebody about a challenge group. That scared the daylights out of me. But I knew that what I wanted for myself and my family was a whole, I was afraid of what might happen if I didn't send that invite more than I was afraid of if I did send that invite. Because I knew by sending that invite, I was one step closer to what I had in my heart as far as dreams and goals for myself and for our family and for this team and for all of it. And so I've mentioned this business is built on layers. And so that's hopefully what I've illustrated for you tonight, is that it's built, you master one layer, you build on that. You master that, you build on that. And that's how you get to a point where your business is solid and stable and has momentum. It's with that consistency of these income building activities over and over and over. Hang on a second, make sure we're all muted. Here we go. Okay, so anyone can be successful at this, but not everyone will. And so I've been thinking a lot lately about why is that? And so we heard somebody speak at Leadership, and they talked about this external locus of control and this internal locus of control. External is where you're just kind of life is happening to me. Internal is where you have choices. You make choices every day that determine an outcome, and you have control over that. And so all of these things right here are more focused on the external. And so really realigning your thoughts with having an internal locus of control where you have a choice every single day to do those income building activities, to stay in phase 1 and to stay in phase 1 for the season of coaching that you're in. Master that, be a master of that, and then move on. That's what takes the external locus of control to the internal, where you have control over it, you know what you're doing, and you move forward with confidence. If you're focused on the external, you're saying this is too hard. What if I get an objection? Nobody's liking my post. Nobody liked my post in the beginning because I didn't know how to share my story, and I shared my links, and I shared just dumb stuff, honestly, that nobody wanted to see. But I learned from that, and I kept trying and learning and trying and learning, because you have choices, right? It's the holidays. Nobody wants to do anything. That's not true. There are people out there who need help. They may be harder to find, but it's up to you. Or maybe you're feeling like you don't have time. Everybody has the same 24 hours in a day. Everybody is busy. Maybe some of us more than others at different parts in our lives. But you have choices every day about how you spend your time. So it's up to you to make that work if this is that important to you. And it is hard work. It's not easy. You will have to grow to your goals. And sometimes that can be so painful because growing and getting outside of our comfort zone is not fun sometimes. But the growth that happens from that is awesome. And that's how you move from new coach to diamond coach to star diamond. And that's how you're able to build layer upon layer upon layer. So staying in phase one creates some things here. If you wish your business was more organized, if you wish you were more consistent, if you wish you were more focused, if you wish that you were more determined to accomplish your goals, stay in phase one. Just focus there. Stay in phase one because phase one brings all of those things to your business. And honestly, instead of it feeling painful sometimes, like what if we just like it brings you joy, right? To work on your business, to grow in those areas that you feel like you're not good at. Who cares? Phase one brings joy to the growth process. So I encourage you just to dive in and to lean into those places. Phase one eliminates fear because if you're taking so much action, you do not have time for fear. You don't even have time to think about fear. And ultimately, phase one produces results. So if we're helping our challengers get results, then business-wise, my goal here is to help you produce results in your business. And in order to produce results in your business, you have choices every single day. And those are your choices to stay in phase one. So some action steps for you. And these really are just gut checks. For me, one gut check that I always ask myself, and I said this already in the call, but when I'm super frustrated with where things are at, I give myself a gut check. And I think about how much time have I been spending in phase one. And I will tell you 99.9% of the time, the reason I'm frustrated is because I've been ignoring phase one and I've been doing other things that are not quite as vital to my business. So ask yourself that. If the percentage of your time is not at least 90%, and if you're a star diamond, it may look more like 80%, so that percentage can kind of shift as your business grows. But if you're not spending enough time there, then that's the number one thing you need to take action on. Go back to that. Gut check number 2, are you following the systems put in place to help you be successful as a coach? No matter what team you're on, I know your leaders and I know your teams, and I know that they have things in place to help you be successful. Have they run a new coach training that you haven't finished yet? If that's the case, go back and do that. There's always a chance to do it over, right? Have they run a diamond sprint and there's maybe one coming up? I don't know. And maybe you started it, but you didn't finish it. Go back and finish it. Dive in head first and do it right this time. Your coaches and your leaders have these systems in place to help you because they've been where you are, they know the struggle, and they want you to be successful. Like I said at the beginning of this call, I love this business. I love being a coach. I love what it does for people, and I love what it does for people's lives. And so because of that, I want to ask you to go back and not try to reinvent the wheel until it's time, until you are in that star diamond or above level where you've mastered the systems that are in place so well that you can teach them to somebody else, because that's what this is about, right? It's about mentoring other people in fitness and in business. So here is a truth bomb for you. This isn't mine. I heard it somewhere else from another coach who is a leader. But she said, until you've made an impact, you haven't earned the right to make an income. And I thought, I've repeated this to my team several times now, but it really struck a chord with me because it's so true. How do you make an impact? you stay in phase 1. Sorry. That's how you make an impact. You don't have a challenge group. You don't have lives to change until you have invited and had conversations and met people where they're at and identified what it is that you can do to help them. So until you've made an impact, you have not earned the right to make an income. And I think that that is like a tough love statement, but I wanted to share it with you because it did make an impact on me. So hopefully it makes an impact on you. And so with that, that's all I have. Hopefully that helps you guys kind of get back to home base. I know for me sometimes like there's all these things that you can be doing. Sometimes there can be this celebrity like culture, I think, with coaching. Just do you. You have so much to offer. God has given you gifts. We were talking to my son last night, this last thing I'll share, just about using his gifts and not trying to be somebody else, right? Because when you try to be somebody else, you're covering all of that up. So don't do that. Just be you. Do you. That is the best gift that you can give the world, honestly. Do you. Stay focused on the right activities and let everything else fade away. So thank you guys so much for your time tonight. It was a joy to share with you, and happy Thanksgiving. Bye.